It's been a long, hard season, and both championships are decided, but this is by no means a dead rubber. Hello there folks, and welcome to the finale of the Formula 1 2019 Ferrari career mode. I have thoroughly enjoyed this series, and I hope you guys have too. From the first race in Australia, barely even scraping points, to our first win back in Monaco, and of course it's been a good season since then. But a slip up unfortunately on strategy in Brazil meant that title battle could not continue onto Abu Dhabi. But this is absolutely not a dead rubber. Now firstly, this is a very unique race in the history of Formula 1 because this is the first and probably only race of all time that will include double points. That's right, 50 points for the winner. An absolutely crazy idea put forward by Bernie Eccleston. Thank goodness there's not many bonkers points. Bonkers points that he makes now. As you can see, double points will be awarded at the final race. So 50 points for the winner, 36 points for second, 30 points for third, etc, etc. And I said it's not a dead rubber because things are absolutely not over yet. We are only 8 points ahead of Nico Rosberg. Of course, unlike in a normal race, if Rosberg wins the race and we finish second, we'd finish ahead of him. But in this race, there is now a 14 point gap between first and second. So we have to be at the top of our game, and Sebastian Vettel could well catch up as well if he has a good result. And in the Constructors, it is by no means over as well. We are 50 points ahead of Red Bull. There are 86 points still on the table. So securing second is what we want to do today in both championships. Secure second in the Drivers and secure second in the Constructors. But without any further ado, let's go for the final race of the season. This is the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. I know Kimi Räikkönen was quite famous for saying something along the lines of Sector 1 at Abu Dhabi is quite good and the rest of it's rubbish. But obviously in a bit of fouler terms, as you'd expect from Mr. Räikkönen. But this is quite a good track. I quite enjoy Abu Dhabi, and this looks like a fairly good lap from us as well on our banker lap. We've got the slipstream from the cage from which always helps, but our banker lap is a 1:42.6. 2.5 seconds ahead of Marcus Ericsson, who's just set a lap time ahead. In the Caterham. We won't probably be top of the standings, but Vettel, as you can see, for 1:45.4. There's about a second to gain, but considering that's our bank lap, that's not too bad at all. Goodness me, going a little bit pear-shaped there, certainly. But again, in qualifying, especially in qualifying 1, our aim is just to get up to pace a little bit, and really our main aim is to get through the session, which looks like we should be absolutely fine with doing, especially just with that banker lap. Not the best Q1 session ever from us, as you can see, in 11th place, but I've not really got much problem with that. I think I know where we're going wrong, so we can improve in Q2 most certainly. But the usual suspects out, they include Pastor Maldonado and Esteban Gutierrez. Those two have really become the usual suspects this year. But Jenson Button a little bit of a way down, might be a concern for McLaren, but his teammate Magnussen is in P6. That Q1 session always throws for a few surprises, but Lewis Hamilton way ahead of anybody else. Daniel Kvyat on options, Adrian Sutil on options, and so were Vern Grosjean and Maldonado. But a good lap from Kevin Magnussen to put himself in 6th. So in Q2, we've got about 1.8 seconds to make up on our previous laps, and to be fair, I know exactly where it's not necessarily all going wrong, but where we've just been a bit scruffy throughout the last few laps. Sector 2, last time it was very good. We were 7 tenths above what we'd done before, but only improved our lap time by a tenth. So that third sector is obviously where we need to improve. But let's have a look at how our bank lap goes in Q2. We should be able to make up, I'd say, maybe at least a second at deficit, because we are obviously on the option tyres now. Well, this bank lap doesn't look bad whatsoever. We're half a second up on Sebastian Vettel's top time in Q2. Perez and Kvyat have just set times to knock us out of the top 10, but that's not a worry. Obviously, we haven't got a lap time yet. We've just gone down to first gear, hence why we had a wobble through that corner. Wasn't intended though, but it's the third sector where we struggle a little bit, so we'll see where our lap time leaves. So I would guess that because we're half a second above Sebastian Vettel time, that other drivers have got a lot to give. It's not going to be that easy to get to the front of the grid, I wouldn't have thought. But through the last corner, power down through there, and what's the lap time going to be? It looks good, and it puts us top of the times by 3 tenths a second. As you can see though, Sebastian Vettel, the only driver who's really set a serious lap time though. But to be 3 tenths clear of Sebastian, that's certainly positive at this point in qualifying. We've mucked up that first corner. But a good first lap from us. Jenson Button goes into P3. But I'd expect some good lap times to come from the top guys very quickly. No surprises in Q2, apart from the fact that actually Jenson Button upped his game, got ahead of Kevin Magnussen, and Magnussen doesn't even get in the top 10. The 3 usual suspects, I suppose 4 usual suspects are out. The 2 Toro Rossos, the remaining Lotus, and the remaining Sauber. But Sergio Perez, who it has to be said hasn't done very well all season, has gone out in Q2, and so has Kevin Magnussen. So in Q3, there's the 2 Mercedes, 2 Ferraris, 2 Red Bulls, a Force India, 2 Williams, and the McLaren. But A good lap time from us was that, 1:44.5. We're actually half a second down on Lewis Hamilton in the last sector, which just shows how good we are in the first two sectors. So maybe it might be car related that perhaps we're down in that last sector, so we've got to push every single millisecond and get every single millisecond out of those first two sectors, and hopefully take advantage to get onto the first two rows. That would be a great start. That's a fantastic banker lap in Q3. I mean, a 44.2 I think was Hamilton's best time in Q2. Take those times for everybody else with a pinch of salt, because everybody likes to do a little bit of a slow first lap and then really get on the pace in the second lap. Obviously, we don't conform to that usual normal, but another 300th up in that first sector, that's good to see, but a great lap of 43.7. Can anybody get up to that? It's a really strong first lap. We'll do another lap, 2 laps in this first stint of Q3, and then we'll go out later for a 1-lap push, a 1-lap shootout on fresh option tyres. But this looks like a good lap. Can the Mercedes get up to that? Because clearly Red Bull and our teammate Alonso can't live with that sort of time. Well, these are the times after the first stint, and we're on pole as it stands. A great lap, and as you can see, we've reduced the deficit most importantly in sector 3. That's really where we were starting to be dragged down. But really good times, particularly through Sector 2. That's why we are so quick. One of only 2 drivers to get below the 1:44 mark. And this looks good at the moment. So we're going to go out for one more lap. And hopefully we should be able to take pole position. This is a really unexpected surprise, but a good surprise at that. Well, everybody else has come into the pits, which confirms that we take the final pole position of the season. This is our last qualifying lap on F1 2014. So we might as well just try and treasure it while potentially extending our gap at the top for pole. We'll have to see. It was a good first sector. We were a 10th up on our original time. What's Sector 2 going to look like? It looks pretty good. 2 tenths off, but we can potentially make that time up in the last sector. Who knows? Just going to really push like hell. There's no risk now because we already know that we've got pole. Unless we make a really stupid mistake that gets us a grid penalty or something daft like that. But through the last sector we come. Really nice in Abu Dhabi how it goes to that day-night transition, even though it is obviously only 25%. As a race, but it looks really nice, doesn't it, this circuit does at night. But the positive for us, other than we've got pole obviously, is that we line up alongside Lewis Hamilton. The 2 big drivers of the season, the 2 strongholds of this season, are going to line up alongside each other. And the big man that we're worrying about has not only been beaten by Lewis Hamilton, but also has been beaten by Daniel Ricciardo. And we can extend our pole position margin by another 10th of a second. Fantastic there. We line up on pole alongside our compatriot Lewis Hamilton and 2014 world champion. Daniel Ricciardo lines up in 3rd, Rosberg 4th, Vettel 5th and Alonso 6th. It looks good for us for this Constructors and Drivers' Championship battle. Obviously we're watching for Nico Rosberg in the Drivers' Championship. But if we win the race, I mean we need what? I think we need 30 points. So if we win the race, win the race. I don't know what I was on about there. If we win the race, thank you, 3rd time lucky. If we win the, oh for goodness sake, if we win the race, in fact you know what I'm on about. We don't need 30 points. We win, we get 50. Understood? Great. Here we go. Last race of the season in Abu Dhabi. Oh dear. Been a fantastic season. A lot of highs. Okay, a few lows. And we can't quite be the king. That man is the king, Lewis Hamilton. But we can at least be the prince. Or somewhere halfway between. If we beat one of the Mercedes. Our objective is to finish first. And it'd be great to round out this brilliant 2014 season with a win. 5 lights are on. And for the last time in 2014, it is lights out and away we go. A strong start for us. We'll just watch out for Lewis Hamilton on our inside, who's pretty well on our inside, but we're just going to keep it around that first corner absolutely fine. And we have developed, as we do usually from pole, and what usually happens as pole position drivers on F1 2014, we have kept that first position. Hopefully we can start developing a little bit of a gap. Daniel Ricciardo gets ahead of Lewis Hamilton at the start of that. Is absolutely quite amazing stuff. And the only sad thing that could happen today is for Lewis Hamilton to retire, because we know in our heart of hearts, I think Lewis finished in 4th, didn't he, in Brazil. If we'd have won that race in Brazil, and we would have won this race today, if Hamilton retired from this race, and obviously we did well in Brazil, then we would have been world champion. But all we can do today is win, and hopefully we'll pick up 2nd in the Drivers' Championship, and obviously 2nd in the Constructors as well, in a season where Red Bull were widely tipped to beat us. Well, we had a really good start. We managed to get the gap to 2.6 seconds on the first lap, and I thought we'd be safe. But as you can see, we've slacked a bit in the last few laps. Our best lap is a 46.4. Daniel Ricciardo's a 45 dead, and he's just behind us. So maybe we haven't got the race pace that we did in qualifying. Now, we're only on standard revs. We were on rich fuel mix for that first lap, which makes me wonder whether we might well be good to go back up again. But if Daniel Ricciardo's using his fuel now, then we can go up to rich later and do the opposite strategy. But he's going for it on the straight. We're just going to try and nudge him out there as we do. And we retain first place for now. Lap 6 when we're going to be stopping as usual. Ricciardo and Hamilton will hopefully start dicing between themselves. Annoying really to see that Alonso was in 4th behind these two, but seems to have been displaced by Rosberg and I'm guessing Sebastian Vettel. But still, all good for constructors and drivers at the moment. Pit stop time then, and Ricciardo is keeping up the pressure. I've just been told by the pit engineer that Ricciardo is setting laps potentially a tenth or two quicker than us, so the pace is stabilising, I guess you could say. He's not catching us up in the leaps and bounds that he was earlier, but Lewis Hamilton isn't really keeping up too much. Ricciardo's got the DRS, he might well go for a move here, but doesn't bother, probably because seeing it is pit stop time. Now, I don't know where Vettel is, but Rosberg and Hamilton are in fairly close proximity, and of course only one of those drivers will come in at the end of the lap, so we'll have to see what the effects of the overcut are. Not really seen it many times this year, although in America it was really weird. Bottas and Alonso nearly overcut the whole field. They were in, I think, about 5th or 6th, and by going another lap they did mightily impressively to nearly take the lead of the race, but we just about came out ahead of them. So ever since then, I've been fairly wary of that overcut fib. I mean, we've only had the Brazilian Grand Prix since then, and it's fair to say there wasn't really much of an overcut in Brazil. But anyway, here we go for our pit stop. Pretty much half race distance now as we come on to lap 7. Kept it in standard fuel mix during this stint. Tyres not gone off massively, but not been great to drive on either. And been able to get the same sort of pace that we got in qualifying. So hopefully we can get something similar as we go onto these prime tyres. Not as much grip, of course, but newer tyres will always help. Now, Ricciardo and Rosberg stay out. Lewis Hamilton and ourselves both come in. It's going to be interesting to see what the split strategy looks like here. Obviously, you'd expect Sebastian Vettel to come in for Red Bull, which I think he has just there. Bottas stays out, Magnussen stays out, all competitive drivers, so this is worrying me a little bit, the fact that there are a lot of guys staying out, but this is a tricky pit lane to negotiate. Luckily, we've got the pit assist. I don't think I turned the pit assist on, but it's automatically decided to give us a helping hand getting out the pits there, and we've come out in P7, just behind Daniel Kvyat in the Toro Rosso. So we'll have to see how we get on. We've got to push like crazy on this lap. Luckily, we have got that rich fuel mix to push us on a little bit. It's going to be close. Daniel Ricciardo was right behind us, so not going to be a formality that we come out of this stage, out of this phase in first place. Mucked up that corner, but hopefully we have got DRS on Daniel Kvyat. That might help us to gain a little bit of pace, but a little bit scrappy on these prime tyres. They're bound to be a little bit cool, so completely understandable. But let's see how the overcook does for these guys. It might well work. Well, this is critical now to see what will happen in this Drivers and Constructors Championship. If we get out of this in first, I'd say that we've ticked both of those boxes. Not really worried about Magnussen, Bottas, or even Fernando, because he's quite a way behind us. But it's Ricciardo and Rosberg worrying about. Let's see who's going to get out in front. Obviously, they'll get quite an advantage on this pit lane because they effectively cut the first corner. So very tricky to see what will happen. But it looks like we've got the jump on everybody here. It's not quite been confirmed that Daniel Ricciardo is going to be very close to us, so he pretty much retains where he was before. As you can see, he's right behind us, so not much has really changed in that pit stop phase. The Mercedes guys have lost a little bit of time. Rosberg probably a little bit annoyed that he's in 4th place. Of course, he's trying to get 2nd place back off us, seeing as his teammate Lewis Hamilton has won the championship by such a huge margin. It's going to be a little bit embarrassing for somebody from a different team whose machinery, I think at least, is quite inferior to that Mercedes car. Inferior, not in fear. Well, we are in fear as well of that Mercedes machinery, but quite inferior to that Mercedes car. And Daniel Ricciardo as well, he's beaten him. He had, I think Daniel, where did Daniel retire now? He had a retirement, didn't he, earlier on in the year? It was Monza, wasn't it? Him and Rosberg came to blows in Monza just when Ricciardo was getting some good form. Would have been interesting to see if Ricciardo might well have come into that championship battle if that debacle hadn't have happened. Hindsight is a wonderful thing, but we're looking good here. Right ahead of Daniel Ricciardo, but we can control that threat for the rest of the race. And we look good to take our 7th, 8th win of the season. I really have lost count now. I think probably our 8th win of the season, and take a really respectable 2nd in the Drivers' Championship. And of course, a 2nd in the Constructors' Championship. It wasn't expected either, so we've overachieved this year on all formats. Well, I think Daniel Ricciardo has got a problem. Either that or he's ran wide because, oh, maybe not. Maybe not. He was a long way behind the two Mercedes cars just then. He was displaced, obviously, by Hamilton and Rosberg, and then he started to drop back quite a lot, and I thought, ooh, there might be a problem with Daniel Ricciardo, but it just seems they're fighting between themselves. Maybe they had a scrap, Ricciardo went wide, who knows, but while those three guys are scrapping between themselves, we can have a nice chill at the front and just reminisce about the season that's gone by. 2 laps to go then of our F1 2014 adventure. We've controlled the race from the front, really. Something that we've done in most of the races that we've led, apart from that last one in Brazil. But ultimately, the game unfortunately just prioritised the leader, really. You know, once you get into the lead, it is quite easy to just control the race and win. But, you know, that doesn't go without merit of how well we've driven, particularly this weekend. A brilliant lap to take pole position, and we've kept our eye on the ball. You know, if we slacked, it would be quite easy for these guys to get through. And as you can see, Hamilton, Rosberg, I think Ricciardo, and just Ricciardo are on the back of us now. So we've done all we can, really. We have got second place in the Drivers' Championship as it stands, and we also will take second in the Constructors' Championship. I mean, that's pretty much all down to the fact that we've won so many races this year. I mean, we've won 7 or 8 races. Hamilton, of course, won us a lot, but Fernando Alonso hasn't even won one race. So we've gone far and beyond what this car is capable of, and I've thoroughly enjoyed this F1 2014 career mode. Never done a career mode with Ferrari before. It was a choice really between Williams, Ferrari and Red Bull. I'm happy to make the choice that I made. I think Williams would have been a bit of an uphill struggle, and maybe I think with Red Bull we could have made, I mean, an even better chance for the championship, and I think we probably would have won the championship. I wouldn't say quite easily, but definitely with more ease than how we've raced this year. We would have took a lot more wins, because the Red Bull, I think, has just got that extra tenth or two where this car hasn't. But it's been a great series. I really hope you guys have enjoyed it. We'll be taking a little bit of a break from Formula 1 now, though, because I'm going to concentrate on other projects on the channel. Obviously, the continuing Snooker 19 project with a career mode with Neil Robertson. And also, at the moment, I've got a Tour de France series going on, so I want to focus on those 2 series on the channel. So this is coming to an end at a really nice time as Tour de France, the game is released on Thursday. So it all blends in quite nicely. It's the 2 new series that will become the priority for now. But don't count any F1 content out in the future, because we did a career mode on 2012, which was thoroughly enjoyable. This one's been thoroughly enjoyable. You might have to wait a few months until there's a little bit of a spot in the schedule for one, but who knows, an F1 2015, F1 2016 career mode, we might well possibly see. So this is not the end. And of course, there's a couple of Retro Sunday videos on some of the old F1 games, F1 2009, F105, F101. There's plenty of Retro Sunday videos that you can go and enjoy as well. Lewis Hamilton's going for the lead at the end of the race here. He's got the DRS, and to be fair, he's got ahead, but we're going to go for it into this corner. Let's try and block him going through, and Rosberg might well take P2. A battle between the Mercedes on the last lap. Don't you just love these? But Hamilton blocks him off nicely, and I think Ricciardo spun it. Ricciardo has spun it for Red Bull. Dearie me, I think he must have been involved in that corner. It'd be a bit of a surprise for him to spin by himself. But coming into the last sector of the F1 2014 career mode. Another great controlling win today, this should be. Really proud. Maybe not the fastest guy on the track today, and I wasn't expecting a win, particularly given our pace earlier on in qualifying. But something just clicked in the last sector. We're really solid. Our race pace not the best, but the most important thing isn't race pace or even qualifying pace. It's who leads over the line. So we're not going to be the king. We're not going to win the championship, but that championship battle lasted about as long as Andre Lotter's F1 career, didn't it? Let's be honest. And I'm only saying Andre Lotter because he did race in one race in 2014. So I thought I'd get that link in there. Anyway, the final corner of the career mode. And we come across the line to win the 2014 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Not quite the championship winner, but second place in the championship and second place for Ferrari in the Constructors. Absolutely excellent stuff. Well, double points, 50 points for us there, so 2 points for Button, 4 points for Hulkenberg, who's been the man of the season, I think, outside of the top 3 teams. Magnussen 8, Bottas 12, Alonso 16, Vettel 20, Ricciardo 24, Rosberg 30, Hamilton 36, and ourselves 30 points. So the final championship standings look like this. We have taken second place in the championship, and of course, the most important thing is that we've unlocked a nice new shiny achievement, which is excellent. 2 achievements, actually. 2 50 gamer score achievements, which is absolutely excellent to see. 52 points, we finished behind Lewis Hamilton in the end. Can't complain about that at all. Sebastian Vettel finishes the season off in 4th. Alonso and Ricciardo really plagued by a few retirements, let's be honest. Valtteri Bottas takes 7th. And that Force India car, wasn't the quickest. It certainly wasn't as quick as Williams, but Hulkenberg only 5 points behind the Williams. Massa finishes 9th, Magnussen 10th, solid for Magnussen. Perez 11th, Button 12th, Kvyat 13th, and Adrian Sutil and the 4 usual suspects at the bottom didn't take any points this season. But we take 2nd in the Constructors' Championship, quite convincing in the end really. Red Bull 3rd, Williams 4th, Force India 5th, McLaren 6th, Toro Rosso 7th, Sauber 8th and Lotus only 9th. They've got to be disappointed with that. Caterham end up 10th and Marussia bottom of the pack. I mean, Lotus's car was pretty poor in 2013. Really a shame after that brilliant escapades in 2012 and 2013. But for the last time in Kimi Raikkonen's car, we are top of the podium. A brilliant season. We were only really considered for the championship late on, but Lewis Hamilton drove a brilliant season, and quite fitting really that the two of us, 1st and 2nd in qualifying, 1st and 2nd in the race. A brilliant season, and what a way to finish it. So if you enjoyed that and have enjoyed the 2014 F1 career mode, please make sure to leave a like on the video. That would really mean a lot. As you can see, 1 fastest lap, 5 pole positions. Our average finishing position was 5th. Won 8 races, 298 points. 1 teammate challenge won, 1 rival beaten. And obviously, we will advance to Season 2, but we won't be racing a Season 2. But a great season nonetheless. And I've really enjoyed that with Scuderia Ferrari. Hope you guys have as well. Really good to be bringing this season to an end. But, well, again, go all the way back to Australia. But we are equal now with Fernando Alonso. Goodness me. Going all the way back to the start, eh? Apparently will be the surprise of the season. Well, there you go. And it all starts again. Well, if you've enjoyed that, make sure to leave a like down below. Comment your thoughts as well. And subscribe for regular content on the channel. And who knows, there might be F1 content coming soon to a YouTube subscription box near you. Of course, if you subscribe, and that subscription box will be very much near you. And thank you for watching. Thank you for your support in this series. And until the next time, I will see you guys later. Goodbye for now.